Hey guys, I hope all is well. Welcome back to the Truth Talk podcast. I'm back here with D.
Hi, everybody. I hope you guys are having a great day.
In today's episode, we're going to be talking about Disney going way too far with their recent shows. Let's get right into it. Disney is loved by millions of children around the world. So many kids grow up watching Disney's content, and it plays a big part in many kids' childhood. I remember being a kid watching Disney Channel every day. Millions of parents trust Disney to only provide kid-friendly content to their child audience. But what happens when Disney takes advantage of that trust parents have given and start pushing an agenda that only ruins children's minds? I have done videos on Disney in the past, and we spoke about its occult-driven content. Most of Disney's content is based on magical themes, introducing the idea that magic has two sides. I often see people comment this on the channel, claiming that there's two sides of magic, good and bad, when this honestly isn't true. God stated that all magic is forbidden. So many people think there's two sides to magic because of Hollywood, as they want you to believe that that's the truth. Disney plays an important role in all of this, as they introduce the idea of magic into children's minds at a very young age. Disney pushes occult values to its viewers because it was created by an occultist. Like I've said before, Walt Disney himself was a member of a Freemasonic organization called the Demolay Club for Boys, a Masonic club that prepares young boys to become Freemasons in adulthood. Masonry is all over Disney and is why all of its shows are about magic defeating evil, as the Masons love to paint themselves as the good ones using magic. Disney had an entire show about Masonry called Gravity Falls that aired for 2 seasons back in 2012. The show was about magic and rituals, and it even displays a Freemason member in the show. Disney made this content to indoctrinate children into the occult life as young as possible, something that Disney is still doing to this day. I don't know if Disney only uses occultists as actors or they turn the actors into occultists, but I found this article that I thought was very interesting, and it shows just what Disney is trying to do. Many of you should remember the mega Disney franchise High School Musical. High School Musical was one of Disney's most successful franchise ever. It made Disney over $4 billion over its lifespan. So many kids watched High School Musical and loved the main characters Troy and Gabriella. Gabriella was played by the actress Vennessa Hudgens, who had developed a massive child audience during her role as Gabriella. Now, years later, she had recently came out and stated something very concerning to me. Vennessa Hudgens claims that she is a witch and an occultist. She actually made a whole documentary about her occult practices called Dead Hot. In this documentary movie, she could be seen doing rituals and casting spells, all while trying to paint magic in a good light. In this interview, we can see Vennessa explaining her witch movie, doing her best to make it sound appealing and appear like a positive thing.
You're coming out as a witch?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's been such a journey, and I kind of had an awakening and had so many questions, was so curious. I was very much on this idea of like a spiritual brigade, and I kind of wanted to figure out who they were specifically so I can be more intimate with them. And I definitely got that.
As you heard for yourself, she was excited to admit she was a witch who practices ritual magic. It is not a coincidence that Disney is all about magic, wizards, and spells, while the actors admit to really being witches in real life who practice ritual magic. In my opinion, the reason Vennessa was even in Disney was because she was a part of the occult system. Remember, Walt Disney was born into Freemasonry. His father was a Mason. The Masons have both Masonry for young boys and for young girls. For the boys is the Demolay organization, and for the girls is the Rainbow Girls organization. Both are Masonic organization for children. I believe from these Masonic organization is where Disney picks their young actors and actresses. Disney has used Vennessa Hudgens to shape many minds, and she's still being used for this many years later. Disney has always tried to hide inappropriate adult themes in their top kids shows as well, guiding kids to focus on things that only adults should be participating in. Recently, Disney released a movie that proves just that. They're trying to introduce kids and teens to things they shouldn't be thinking about. The movie is called Prom Pact. Prom Pact has made its rounds around the internet because of its several inappropriate scenes. The movie is about 2 high school friends who make a pact to go to prom together. Sounds like many other Disney movies, except for what happens in a few scenes that just goes to show what values Disney is pumping out to their tween audience. In one scene of the movie, the male main character has a conversation with another boy at his job, where the boy states something that almost doesn't seem real.
I've kissed a girl before.
Kissed? Ugh, are you 9? I'm talking about your P in a V. See that guy? His P has been in some V.
Hi, is Greg Lansing in here?
As you heard for yourself, with no hesitation, they put this in a Disney movie. A conversation about putting P and V was really had on a Disney movie. The movie's available on Disney Plus as well. Disney knew what they were doing, and it's the reason they made the movie PG-13 to hide their hands. They know they couldn't make it PG because of the content. There's also another scene that shows a bunch of teenagers drinking something only adults are allowed to drink. It clearly appears Disney no longer cares. They are putting their agenda right in the open. Disney has even aimed their agenda at the very young kids with their show Dino Ranch. Dino Ranch is an animated show for kids 8 and up. It's a kids show that kids consume on a daily basis. In one of the episodes called Adoptosaurus Rex, they introduced the children to a plotline about two dad dinosaurs wanting to raise a baby together. So the kids in the show help the dads get an egg.
T-Rexes have a nest too. Those aren't eggs, they're rods. So that's why they want to be around the dinosaur nests. These dino daddies want eggs of their own. They want a family.
Clear as day, we see Disney pushing the Lil Nas X agenda directly to the kids, introducing topics to children they have no need learning about. A method of confusion, and it's honestly sad that many parents are happy about it. Children do not need to be learning about genders or preferences at the age of 8. The show shouldn't be focused on something that only adults are concerned about. An 8-year-old isn't thinking about genders, they're thinking about playing and having fun. Those over at Disney want to push this agenda and normalize it. They have always wanted the minds of the children. We know that these occultists have been after the little ones the entire time. Disney even openly showed us this themselves in their movie Hocus Pocus, a movie about witches using children for ritual magic. Disney has been pushing this agenda for years, but it's only becoming more and more aggressive. Back in 2022, they introduced the first trans character in an episode of That's So Raven's reboot called The Fierce Awakening. Disney was praised for this by many as they cheer for Disney's woke values. The thing is, again, these shows are made for kids 8 and up, and it's supposed to be shows about kids being kids. Why introduce these characters that are unnecessary to the plot? It's obvious what Disney is doing with its programming, pushing the Lil Nas X agenda to the minds of growing kids, normalizing it as these will be the kids that lead the new world order. We the parents have to do our parts to stop this agenda. I have nothing against anyone's preference, as God tells us not to judge anyone. But I do 100% have a problem when this agenda is aimed at our growing children, who can be easily confused. These disturbing people are hiding behind wokeness, when in reality, they're trying to push people to become further asleep. They want to destroy the rules of life God created and replace them with Aleister Crowley's twisted ideology of do what thou wilt. All these disturbing values come directly from Crowley's Book of the Law. Crowley was the man who created the term love is love. As he would say, love is the law, love under will. Your will, not God's. This is the same twisted agenda that they're pushing through Disney, directly to the minds of our children. Sadly, Disney has become the face of this agenda when it comes to the kids. They are changing their programming, adding it in their shows, adding it in their movies, and they're hoping to shape the minds of our kids. These are disturbing times because those who speak against it are the ones that are being seen as the enemy, when in reality, it's the ones that are pushing the agenda that is the problem. There is no reason for this content to be shown to children, and when I see it so openly, it just shows me how far they are along their plans. Disney has always been pushing an agenda to the children. Before, it was just pushing magic and occultism and inviting kids into the occult, but nowadays, they've shifted their agenda and are now pushing the Lil Nas X agenda directly to the kids.
Yeah, this is really crazy, and especially considering the fact that I grew up with friends that actually were not allowed to watch anything but Disney Channel because their parents were really convinced that Disney Channel was good, channels like Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network were bad. And now that I think about it, you are 100% correct. This magic thing, they have been spreading this for a very long time, and it goes back further than just the newer movies that they made for us when we were teenagers, like Twitches. It goes back to the princesses, the fairy tales alone. Every last single one of them have magic, and they make you feel like you need magic to have what you want. Not just that, Disney Channel's whole entire commercial break, when they say come back to Disney Channel, they're literally having one of their Disney Channel celebrity stars use a wand. They're using a magical wand to make the Disney ID. Magic is Disney's message. The magical kingdom, even Mickey Mouse is supposed to be magical, supposed to be happy, but that's just their way to indoctrinate children into thinking that magic is good. And now that they have gotten the trust of not just kids, but parents, they're slowly adding in this next agenda that they want to bring in, which I find beyond me, because as a parent, there are certain things that I want my child to learn when I feel comfortable teaching them. I don't think they should be learning these things from TV. They're not going to be sure because of the way it's being portrayed. There's just certain things that we as adults should have conversations with our kids about that they should not be learning at school or on the TV, nor less a cartoon channel.
Definitely, but sadly, it's the world that we're being pushed into. And like I said earlier, those who try to speak against it are the ones that are targeted and called crazy and are the ones that are looked at as the bad people. But in reality, we're just trying to protect our children's minds. Our children's minds are the target with all this content. It's all over Disney, it's all over Nickelodeon, it's all over Cartoon Network, because they all work for the same people. It's all Masonic programming at the end of the day. And this is a part of the Masons' plans. They want to build a new world, and they see themselves as gods, and gods that don't have any gender, gods that can do whatever they want, gods that do what thou will. That's what they want to push, and they have succeeded. They have turned the world into accepting this, and now they're coming after young children because children were the ones that were protected. The adults are forced to accept it, but now they're coming after the children so that the children are forced to accept it. We see how they're coming after them in school. We see how they're coming after them in entertainment, and it's because they know how important it is to shape the minds when they're still young, to shape these kids' minds when they're growing up and they're learning, because it's easier to confuse them. It's easier to sway them a certain way. It's much easier to plant an idea in their minds. And that's exactly what they're doing with these shows. I don't know how many of you are aware of what's going on with Disney in Florida, but the whole situation that's happening with Disney in Florida is because Disney is standing strong trying to push their agenda, while Florida passed some laws that would try to slow down this agenda. It's crazy to see just how many people are confused and manipulated into thinking that we're doing something positive by supporting this agenda. It's not. It's all over hip-hop. It's all over the movies. It's all over kids' shows now. Kids' shows. Why do kids need to learn about two dads or two moms or any of this? It's unnecessary and it's just going to confuse them. I understand that there's kids that are dealing with this at home and this is how they actually live, but at the end of the day, that's still a very low minority. There isn't that many kids that are experiencing this, and those kids that are should have this already explained to them by their own parents. I don't think it needs to be explained to them in a TV show about dinosaurs and kids.
I think you're 100% correct. And like you said, the fact that people want to push this message like it's such a good thing, I think they're really getting mixed up, because it's one thing to let the adults do what they want to do. They're adults. What they're thinking about and how they feel and how they're expressing themselves goes with the adult activities that they're doing. But now they're trying to change the minds of children to have them be focused on adult activities when they are still children. Like you said, these kids are focused on playing, having fun. But these adults, because it is the adults that are pushing this agenda, are trying to make these kids be worried about adult activities. That right there should send a big red flag. Because why are you trying to manipulate children to think like adults and want to have adult-like feelings? It just does not make sense.
It's the same way that they were pushing their magic agenda. You know, they made it seem like it was a good thing, like magic is a good thing. And that's the same thing they're doing now. Not that this is a preference that is done by certain people, but at the end of the day, it shouldn't be pushed on children. If someone chooses to do whatever they want with their lives, that's a personal thing. That should be between them and God, and no one really needs to concern themselves with that. But when it does become a problem is when you're in schools trying to teach all of the children that this is how they should be acting, that it's okay if you're this or you're okay if you're that, when kids don't think about that. What kids are thinking about is school and toys and all this stuff like we just mentioned. And that's sadly what's going on. There's going to be so much more shows pushing this agenda as more time goes by because no one is showing any resistance. No one is saying no. No one is standing up to them. And the ones that are very few. So they aren't really making any changes and they aren't stopping anything because the majority of people are afraid to even speak up against it. And the ones that are pushing it are overpowering those that are not saying anything. You know, like I said at the beginning of this is all about will. They want you to do what thou wilt. They want you to live your will and be the ultimate form of your wills. You are whatever you want to be. It doesn't matter if it goes against anything, only if it makes you happy. If we think about it, that's an agenda that's been pushed through everything. They've been pushing this for the last 30 years. They've been trying to normalize everything that goes against God. And now they're making sure that the kids are going to grow up into this. The kids are going to look at this and think that if they're not participating in things like this, then there's something wrong with them because it's being promoted so much. It's being shown to so many minds. And at the end of the day, if we don't make a change, it's gonna end so ugly. Well, I want to know what you guys think below. I want you guys to tell me how you feel about all of this and how does this make you feel when you see things like this? Because honestly, to me, it truly makes me scared. And it's truly sad because my son has to grow up in a world like this where everybody around him isn't going to know what's right from wrong. Everyone around them is going to be manipulated into thinking whatever these people say is right. But that's it for this episode. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Goodbye, everybody. I hope you guys have a great day.
I just want to give a special shout out to the Truth Movement members. I truly appreciate every single one of you. If you'd like to further support the channel, join the Truth Movement, or you can join me on Patreon where I drop exclusive videos monthly. The link would be in the description. Another way you can further support the channel is by checking out the Truth store and seeing if you find anything you like. Every purchase you make goes directly to helping the channel and furthering Truth Records. Also, please leave a comment on your thoughts below and on any future topics you would like to see me cover on my channel. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you can be notified when I drop new videos. If you like this video, please leave a like as it helps other people find these videos. You can also find me on TikTok and Instagram and follow me there for more truth. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.